Welcome back, guys. I'm going to go through just a quick patch update. Pretty much that's how the remainder of the series will be, is just updates, weekly updates. Um, did some weeding and tilling and vine burying on a few plants. We got a pollination on this one. This is the 1883 bayuke. Not a bad plant. This little gap that you see right there, actually used a different vine burying mix. Usually I use my native soil. Want to try and prevent having issues with late season disease, so I tried to use sand and peat moss mix. And I don't know if it was the sand or the peat moss, but one of them had something in it that caused some burn on the stem itself, on the main. So I'm thinking it was probably the sand. Maybe there might have been an additive or something like that in it. I did not use play sand. I actually used leftover masonry sand from when we built the house. So there's a chance there's an additive or something in it, and it caused some burn marks on the main. So end up treating it, removing all the bearing mix. Took a little bit of time, lost a couple of secondary vines, but I'm getting back into it. The plant itself is doing really good, so not too far of a setback, just kind of a pain there because you try and be preventative on something and you end up shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. Got a pollination today on this one, and then can't really see it, it's under a cloth right there. That's probably a 3-day-old fruit. This 1883 I crossed, self-disc plant, so wanted to maintain these genetics, and I already have an 1883 on the other end of the plant, so I figured I would self-disc plant because it was really good. One of the faster ones out the gate. Pretty good vines and no issues with the plant, and I wanted to kind of continue those orange genetics, so self-disc 1883, and it's doing all right. Next plant here, pretty big one. This is the 2376 bayuke. Looking at the secondary growth, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I believe there's an 11th one in there. So roughly 20 to 22 secondaries, and I have a fruit that's a 2-day-old pollination right there, and then I have a second opportunity right there before the heat kicks in this week. So those will probably be one of the two that I go with. That's been kicking a lot of 5-lobers out, so that's good. Don't know if 4 or 5 really matters, but for seed count purposes, kind of like that. 2376 bayuke is crossed with, I actually sibbed this one, so I sibbed it with the other 2376, and then I'll probably end up selfing the other one. Coming on to the other plant, this is the other 2376, pretty big plant. Doing this kind of in the Mike Schmidt method where it waterfalls backwards, and then I'll end up deadheading this one at the pumpkin and then forking it forward. Doing pretty good. It's got a little bit of leaf burn, similar to what I had last year. This was crossed with the 2350 last year, so it's got some of the leaf burn issues. I thought it was a little bit of too much nitrogen, but I don't think that's the case. I always get a little bit of burn and nitrogen bloat when I deadhead the secondaries. These are deadheaded, so must be something just from there, but it's a little sensitive to the heat. At least this particular plant. The other one was perfectly fine, same genetics, but this one carried a little bit more of the the 2356 Ginger over. So overall, good plant. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on this side, secondaries before that fruit. That fruit is, I believe, 4 days after pollination. And then I have the one that I want to be the keeper underneath there. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll end up trying to get that one to be the keeper because I'll be deadheading it. and then using the last secondaries that come off, go this way and that way, and then fork tertiaries forward. So hopefully that works out. We do have some heat. This plant here, I ended up crossing it with that 2376. So both of them will be sibbed. And then I have the other 1883 bayuke. This is growing in the same pattern as that last plant I showed you, so I'm kicking the secondaries back. I will not deadhead this one. I'm going to try a little bit of a traditional mixed with the waterfall pattern. It's doing pretty good. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on this side. I think I hit 10 on the other, but either way it's 18, 19 secondaries before this fruit. Now this will be my state fair fruit. That pollination is 7 days old. And then, don't know if you can see it. In the back there, underneath the white cloth, there's a 3-day-old pollination. So I'll have one more opportunity here, but I think because how close it is to State Fair, I'll pollinate as a backup just because of the heat. But this will more than likely be the one that I end up keeping. Patch overall is pretty good. I just finished weeding and tilling. I do have to weed around the plants one more time when I end up doing my next set of vine burying, so I'll do a little bit of hand weeding when I do that. Just to kind of go over what I look for when I'm picking out a fruit. So vine position is very important. So how did you set up your vine? Now this is a secondary that comes off that same node. I wrap that around and out the other side of the plant. And I'll do the same thing for this one. I'll wrap it around and go out the other side of the plant so I don't have to cut it off. And it's also more secondaries next to the fruit. This fruit has better shape than the other one. That one's a little bit more pointy and football shaped. This one's got a little bit of roundness to it, so hopefully it has a little bit of height. And then the other thing I look at is how do the secondaries next to the nodes look? So do they have good vine growth? Do they have good root growth? Things like that. Because sometimes you get secondaries with bad node connection and they're pretty weak. So I look for stuff like that, because if the secondary vine has a bad connection to the main, there's a chance that that pumpkin will, and the growth potential just won't be there. So I'm going to head to the outside of the patch where I have 150 contest pumpkin going, and I'll show you that. So this is the 2195 tile. Doing pretty good. It was started a lot later than my other plants, and that's why it's much smaller. But I really didn't need to jump on it, because if I had too early of a pollination with a smaller plant, I was afraid it was going to have issues anyway. So as far as longevity of plant, especially when it's that small. So patch goes that corner, over there, and back. I think it's just behind that plant. I'm going to run it straight across this corner here, and then do something different with the vine pattern once it gets to that point. But it's doing pretty good. Nice healthy plant. It's finally kicking out some secondaries. It's about 6 to 8 feet long. Not doing too bad there. I am doing giant tomatoes this year, so they're doing all right. This one here has got a pretty hefty mega bloom on there, so I'm excited about that. See how that does. Be it for the patch tour today. Like I said, I'll do weekly updates. So that's pretty much it for the update this week, guys. Mainly it's just vine burying, plant management. I've sprayed my fungicides, insecticides. I did have to up the dosage of my systemic just because I was getting a lot of cucumber beetles, a ton of them, and I couldn't get them with the regular dosage. So I did up the dosage. Plants were fine with it, so that was good. We did get a little bit of rain, but now we're going into upper 90s and possibly 100-degree heat. So we'll see what this week brings, and hopefully a lot of plant growth to get them fruit going and pumping, and see what we got next week. Thanks for watching, guys.